This is the hardest decision I've ever had to make, but maybe showing my journey will help others remember who they are. We are not defined by our circumstances. I know you have a bucket list, and so do I. So scared or not, let's take back control of our own destiny because we are worth it.
Hi, Grandma. Hi. You.
Hi, sweet boy. You have a hug for me? Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Where's James?
Can I tell it to buy one last thing? We are on our way to Oklahoma City from Tulsa, where my family lives. That's where we've been staying. We are going to pre-op. This is the last couple of hours before my amputation tomorrow morning. I am doing okay for the most part. I'll just be talking like this and just start bawling out of nowhere. But that's why I brought him. Keeps me grounded.
This is good for her vehicle. Dear Heavenly Father, the time has come. The time for healing, the time for correction, the time for life, the time for joy.
I love you, babe.
Love you too.
Bye. We'll see you in a bit.
Alrighty.
Did he tell you about 4 hours?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Virginia's a pretty state, isn't
We
it?
love it.
Yeah, I'm from Arkansas.
Lots of trees.
Yes, they have mountains and trees. Let's go a little bit here.
Love you, baby.
I am about 12 hours out of surgery and I have a headache, I'm nauseous. I have not looked at my foot yet. I still feel like I have a foot, so I'm just pretending right now while I rest up and get sleep. It looks like I have a foot because of the way the blankets are arranged. So I'm just going with it. I did eat dinner, and now I'm gonna go back to sleep. The hospital has been great. I think I'm still in denial a lot right now, but I'll face facts eventually. I got a fat lip in surgery. I don't know what they did, but I feel like I've been punched. So that's all for now. Hey. It is the next morning after surgery, July 3rd. I'm about 22 hours out of surgery. I don't remember anything from yesterday because I was in surgery from 7 a.m. to somewhere around noon. And then I didn't even get out of recovery until 4. It took me a long time to come out of recovery. I'll have my husband give an update about that in a minute. Yesterday, the day of surgery, I was just crying and crying and crying. I cried all the way up until surgery. I cried after surgery. In fact, that's the only thing I remember is just crying. And whenever they took me back to the holding room, the anesthesiologist gave me some power meds to help with the anxiety, and that's the last thing I remember. I don't remember being wheeled into the OR. All I remember them saying is, we're going to give you this for anxiety. And I said, wow, this really works. That's the last thing I remember. Last night I slept pretty well. I've had 0 pain. I think my nerve block is still working. I've eaten. I ate dinner last night before I went to sleep again. I was only awake for collectively about 2 hours yesterday. And today I feel great. Mentally, I haven't looked at my leg yet. I don't want to. Right now I still feel like I have a foot. I can feel my toes. I can feel my heel. I can feel everything. So I even asked my husband earlier, it's gone, right? And he said yes. So I'm trying to maybe grasp that a little bit. You want to tell him a little bit about surgery and how that went and the updates and stuff?
So it did take a while. It took between 12 and 4 to wait for her to come out of recovery. We had her room all ready to go, but she wasn't here. So I waited in here for a little while. She came up and still very groggy, still very out of it. So I just held her hand, and I think it helped her drastically, and it made me very aware at that point of what her body physically was going through. Oddly enough, I started sweating, and we're in a 70-degree room, and I was just standing here. There was no physical activity going on, so it was kind of odd. It was almost like I was absorbing some of her energy and letting it come out from the surgery and the recovery. After all of that, when they got her all situated and hooked up to everything, honestly, she slept quite a bit, which was great because she needed to recover from such a traumatic surgery. They worked on her laying on her back and then flipped her over towards the end and worked on the back of her leg to put the nerve block in. And thankfully, that's still working. It should honestly be wearing off here in the next probably 2 to 3 hours. So we're trying to stay ahead of the pain with pain management and medication. She has prescribed medication as well as something coming off of the drip, so she has access to that if things get overwhelming. But all in all, everything went very well. The hospital's been great. They've taken really, really good care of us. And being on a holiday weekend, you would think that wouldn't be the case, but the hospital that the doctor chose to have surgery at, even though it's a holiday weekend, it's actually worked out really well because the people that are here, they're not dealing with trauma or anything like that. This was a planned procedure here, and so it worked out really well for us here. The machines kept beeping throughout the night. We did figure out that part of it had to do with her IV being in her hand, and if she rotated it a certain way, it was blocking it, and it was warning her not to continue the blockage, but we didn't know what it was. We honestly just thought the machine was losing its mind. So anyway, that interrupted sleep for both of us several times, but now we know. So tonight hopefully will be much better.
What did you think? Did you see my leg?
I saw her leg, and it was shocking at first because you're used to seeing 2 feet. And granted, 1 foot is in a compression boot that squeezes her about every 10 minutes. And there's a 10 seconds, sorry. And there's a pump down here to contract and restrict, contract and let go and release, sorry. And it just keeps from having blood clots. And so the orthopedic person that was on duty last night or yesterday did pull the blanket back, and that's when I first saw it. Of course, it's all wrapped in bandages. There's nothing gory or gross about it. It's just, it's different. And he took some measurements because we'll have to put this compression thing, not compression like squeeze, but it's going to suck to her stump so that we can travel and be protected. And so we had to get some measurements for that because it had to be ordered. I guess they used to be kind of universal and then they just kind of cut and trim them to fit. Nowadays we're told that they're kind of made for you a little bit, that you order a certain size and that fits you. So anyway, that was done yesterday as well. It's different. I kind of expected it, but then I told her also over the past months that you don't know what to expect because we haven't lived through this. So don't be alarmed, but it will be surprising, I think, at first. It will jolt you at first, and then you realize, well, that's what we're here for. So I think you'll get used to it as time goes on. I know it's going to take us both some time, and I mean, truthfully, at this point, Carrie hasn't taken a look at it yet, but she will. I mean, truth be told is she'll have to, but she will, and she will when the time is right for her. So don't feel rushed, but do understand that this is 24 hours out. Catheter's got to come out. Movement's got to start happening. The physical therapist person will be in here to at least help us work on movement in and out of the bed. So the reality is it's coming. You kind of just have to be ready.
Yeah, so that's what's coming up next is I wanted to update before any of this happened, but the physical therapist is coming in a little bit. They want me to at least sit up on the side of the bed. My catheter surprised me. I love having that because I'm holistic-ish, and I've been taking probiotics. I've doubled up my probiotics. Don't take my word for it, call your doctor. To get my good bacteria going because we do have to travel and I don't want to get any kind of infection. If your good bacteria outweighs your bad, you don't get sick. Anyways, I've been flushing my system with water, just as much water as I can, but now I almost feel like I have to slow down on the water intake because I'll have to take myself to the bathroom. But at the same time, I have to learn how to do that anyway. But in order to do that, I have to face reality, and right now I'm living in the land of 2 feet. So I'll let you guys know when that happens. But physical therapy will be in here. Catheter is getting removed, and it's going to be a busy day. I want to highly recommend Doctor Ertl. He's based out of Oklahoma City, and he does a bone bridge in between the two bones in your lower leg. And a lot of people do the bone bridge, but it's not always done correctly. So if you are able to see Dr. Ertl, he's an incredible surgeon, and he has just as good bedside manner. He's extremely calming and peaceful and easy to talk to. He spent hours with me over a few consultations, and I've even seen him today, the day after surgery, and he sat down and talked about everything with me. And then also this hospital that we're at, he uses the OU Medical Center Edmond. I love this hospital. For one, we didn't want to do it in Oklahoma City where his office is because we have to share him with trauma whenever he's at that location. So he and I both opted for Edmond because it's a scheduled surgery and he doesn't have to train anybody. It's not a teaching facility. It's just him in his element doing what he loves to do. And also, this hospital, I have never been able to just wake up out of recovery the way that I want to, which is maybe why it took 4 hours yesterday. But they did not shake me and force me to wake up. They very gently told me what was happening and let me sleep for as long as I wanted. And I have had, I don't even know how many surgeries, but I've never been treated that way, and I so very much appreciate it. And all of these people have been extremely kind and wonderful. So if you have the opportunity, I highly recommend Dr. Ertl and get it in Edmond. So I'll see you guys on the next video.